Go ahead.
All right, good evening. Welcome to the November 3rd special meeting of the Board of Estimate and Taxation. Madam Clerk, may I get you to call a roll, please?
Mayor Rilling,
Here.
Mr. Abrams,
Here.
Mr. Camacho,
We didn't hear you, Ed. Oh,
Still
you're
on
not
mute.
muted, but we can't hear you.
He's going to dial back in, so let's go
Okay.
to the next and we'll catch him
Miss-
back.
Mr. Constant,
Here.
Mr. Jelleret,
Here.
Mr. Casimis,
Here.
Miss Yang.
Here.
We have everyone. We have complete attendance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have a quorum.
Ed, you want to come off mute and try one more time?
Mr. Camacho.
Still cannot hear you.
I think we got the sign.
I will acknowledge that Mr. Camacho is here.
Okay.
All right, we have one item on our agenda for this evening. It is a special appropriation request for the Norwalk Public Schools. May I get someone to please move this item for discussion and approval? Thank you, Artie. Madam Clerk, may I get you to please read the resolution into the record?
Resolution. Let's see. Resolution. Approve a special appropriation totaling 200,000 for the city's contribution to the free meals program for Norwalk Public Schools. Funds to be transferred from the general fund balance account noted to the Norwalk Public School Lunch Fund account noted.
Thank you. Tom, do you or Jared want to just explain this before we get any discussion?
Yeah, I can do that, Jared, or do you want to take it? I'm fine either way.
Sure, I can take this.
Okay.
After there, so there was as everyone knows and was publicized, there was after the budget was officially adopted, there was an agreement to get more money to the Board of Education to fund some needed programs. And then one of the programs that was part of the deal with the Board of Education, that one of the programs that was cut was the school nutrition program. And so there was significant concerns in hindsight about cutting that program. And so things were amended, and we are coming to you tonight to ask for your approval to do our share. The city could do its share of $200,000 for funding that program. The remaining amount will be funded by the McCord Foundation. So that would be a private donation from the McCord Foundation, and then the remaining amount will be funded by the Board of Education itself.
Okay, thank you. Questions, points for discussion?
Yeah,
by anyone on the board?
I have one.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You probably were following very closely the discussions that were taking place relative to the Board of Education budget. And in that discussion, we agreed, and that'll be coming up, I believe, on the next meeting, I believe, Jared, if I'm correct. We agreed that the Board of Education would cut $2 million from their budget. And but they were supposed to be non-student facing positions. Unfortunately, they decided that $500,000 of that $2 million would come from the school free lunch program. I thought that was a little disingenuous. However, that's what they cut. And then I guess Dr. Estrella found a bit of funding from an outside source and came to me and asked if I would consider funding $200,000 to continue the program. Well, given the choice of $200,000 or sending kids to school hungry, it doesn't, it's not a rocket scientist to figure out that we have to fund that program. I just thought it was out of over $240 million, they could have found the $500,000 someplace else. But I strongly support this, and I certainly hope that the BET can support it as well.
Other comments? Ms. Yang?
I have just a couple of questions. So what, is the Norwalk Public Schools going to do the 200 and the McCord's going to do 100 to make up for the 500? Is that the math?
No.
Okay.
The Board of Ed's not doing 200. I believe the Board of Ed's input will be 75,000. And there's 200,000 coming from, I believe it's McCord, if I'm not mistaken, Austin McCord, and then 200,000 from the city. Yeah.
Are these related to SNAP? Or is this an independent program that Norwalk sponsors?
This is an independent program. It's nothing to do with SNAP.
So here's my question. I understand from Greg Burnett, who at one point of time had gone to the schools and had seen a lot of waste with the school lunch program. And my understanding, part of that was because it was related to SNAP, and that when a student was to take a meal, they had to take everything, like milk, salad, bread, entree, dessert. They had to take everything, even though they may have just wanted a carton of milk. And so a lot went into the garbage. So the question that I have is, can we loosen up some of the standards such that if someone comes up and since everything is free, we can, if someone just wants a carton of milk, they can just get a carton of milk and they don't have to take everything.
That would obviously be something that would have to go before NPS.
Okay.
And I don't know what their policy is, but it's certainly something that we can look at, make them aware of that situation. Greg Burnett, may he rest in peace, was always looking at different places that we can save money. And I think he was very much in tune with some of the things that were or weren't happening with NPS.
Right.
My concern with that is that I don't know what level of what age group we're talking about. If we're talking about high school, that's one thing. If we're talking about elementary school, I don't know. I'm not sure that it's wise to have an 8-year-old make a decision about what's a complete meal. But that it's a little bit more complicated when you're talking about younger children.
No, I think that's fair, Ed, but I think Ann's point is a good one at the appropriate levels.
Yeah.
And with the appropriate understanding, if we can help to eliminate food waste, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Again, Ann, all we can do is make the recommendation to Norwalk Public Schools and let the record show that the mayor has agreed to do so.
Okay, but can we make sure that within the record, or perhaps this resolution, is that we ask the Norwalk Public Schools to examine the requirements of the food funding to eliminate waste, where we don't end up with half the food in the garbage, which is one of the things Mr. Burnett had mentioned.
I think that would be hard to imagine that that's the case, that half of the food is wasted or even a third of the food is wasted. But without knowing the facts, it's kind of hard for us to really,
Again, fair point, and I think all we can do is suggest that they look at ways to eliminate food waste as part of, continuing to run this program. But again, that is, as the mayor said, up to Norwalk Public Schools to provide the direction within their organizations.
And we can ask them and mention it and suggest it. There are 20 schools that would be hard to monitor. Hopefully, they can put together a program that will stop excess food waste.
Quick question.
I'm just sensitive to time, folks, because we
if
do have a meeting at the bottom of the hour.
So,
If we could,
quick question. If
Okay.
So if we're replacing 500K, it seems like Norwalk Public Schools is only contributing 75, the McCord 200. And so that 25K, will it make a difference, and why isn't it being completely trued up?
The 75K is coming from a non-student facing position. And according to the superintendent, she feels very comfortable that this will be sufficient to fund the program.
Well, it doesn't add up. Jared, Kendrick's right. I mean, it's 500, but you're only saying 475.
Yeah, and why they asked for 500 in the beginning, and why they said it would be 500, and they cut the budget to the tune of 500. I don't know, but according to the superintendent, 475 would be adequate to fund the program.
But, yeah, and I can't add much more to it except to say that it's their analysis, it's their program, and they're letting us know what what the requirements are to fund it and to
Right.
provide the level of nutrition that they want to provide. So
Okay, last comment, Ms. Young?
Minor point, but if there is food waste, if they could just perhaps gather what is not being used for the day and maybe take it to one of the food pantries so that, again, nothing goes to waste.
I will mention that to the superintendent and ask her to establish a process where they can monitor what's happening, and if there's any room for improvement, how that improvement could be made.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Rowan.
Troy?
I agree with that point totally, and I appreciate you, Mayor, making those comments. My only point is on, I think we should try to have some type of communication. I'm all for the free lunch for all the kids, and I understand there's peer pressure and everything involved with this, but I also think that the NPS should send out communication to families that can afford the weekly lunch funds or breakfast funds, and give them the opportunity to make a donation or make some type of payment. I mean, when I had kids in school, I mean, when we were fortunate, I have no problem paying whatever the number is per month, per week. And I just think that maybe that communication can go out to families that would like to make the contributions and make those payments. So that's my only point there.
Okay, that's another suggestion we will make. Artie?
Be really quick. Are we saying that they have not funded this up till this point, so the kids had no food?
There's an approaching deadline. I'm not sure what it is. Jared or Tom, do you have that information?
no, the program was mostly funded. The program in total, I believe, was about $7 million. And so this was a portion of the program that they needed to round off in order to fully fund it.
Okay, so no one has been going hungry to
No.
date.
Okay, good.
All right. With that, ladies and gentlemen, all in favor of approving the resolution as read into the record, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The resolution is approved. Thank you very much. With that, that ends the agenda for our special meeting. May I get a motion to adjourn, please? So moved. Thank you. We are adjourned.
Ed, I think we'll just keep it going. I'll have IT parse the video. We've got 14 people on already. We'll just hang on for a minute or so until 6:30 and then start up with the regular.
Okay, Tom?
I have to excuse myself. I gotta go put signs out.
Yep. Good luck again, Artie.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Good to see you guys.
Good luck, Mr. Kasimis.
Thank you, sir.
Pastor Chaplain.
Yes,
And should you win, Artie, can you please bring?
I will
please
bring
them-
this up. I
Yeah.
promise.
Thank you.
I will bring this up.
So, Ann, you don't trust me to bring it up?
No, I trust you completely to bring it up. I do. But I learned so I had to do communications at Goldman Sachs. And what I was told, difficult messages need to be repeated at least 6 times.
Mhm.
So I trust you completely, Mayor Rilling.
I hear you.
And I know you've had this discussion numerous times, but unfortunately you have to have it again. But maybe we can have other avenues.
And I always say that difficult things take a little bit of time, impossible things take a little longer.
Yes.
All right, we are going to go ahead and get started. Good evening and welcome to the November 3rd regular meeting of the Board of Estimate and Taxation. Madam Clerk, may I get you to call a roll, please?
Mayor Riley,
Here,
Mr. Abrams,
Here.
Mr. Camacho,
Here.
Mr. Constant,
Here.
Mr. Jelleret,
Here.
Mr. Casimis, Miss Yang.
Here.
We have 6 in attendance. We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. All right. Looking at our agenda for this evening, the first item on our agenda is the acceptance of the October 6th meeting minutes. May I get that moved for discussion and approval?
I'll make the move.
So,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Any changes, amendments, revisions to the meeting minutes from October 6th? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes as presented in our package signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, abstentions. Ms. Yang abstains because she was not at the meeting.
Correct.
Thank you very much. The minutes are approved. All right, Tom, I am trying to figure out where we go next. I believe that there is there a special appropriation on the agenda this evening, Tom? I'm scrolling.
No special capital appropriation. And the reason we had a special meeting ahead of this is the charter actually specifies that we need a special meeting when we do a request or a special operating budget appropriation. So that request that we did for the Board of Education is from the fund to balance. That 200,000 will come from the fund balance. So that's why we have to distinguish between a regular meeting and a special meeting.
Thank you, Tom.
So
So
the
with that
times that we-
said,
yeah,
that brings us to the transfer agenda.
Correct.
Can I get that moved for presentation and discussion?
So moved.
so moved, Troy.
Thank you very much. All right, Tom, you want to start to lead us through that discussion?
Yeah, so after lengthy negotiations and processing with all of the retro wage adjustments, we are finally at the finish line for the 2025 true ups for wage adjustments on the from requests from contingency. So you'll see on this page a number of adjustments from contingency to true up the various accounts that need adjustments to make them whole on their revised budgets. Where necessary or where permissible or where I guess it was acceptable. We tried to do transfers within departments. So recall that we hold the managers and division chiefs accountable at their total division line or total department line. So where there was money available to transfer within their own departments, we did that. In some cases, that was not an option. For example, in the chief of staff area, city clerk, registrar of voters, town clerk, etc. So those initial, say, 10 to 12 entries on the transfer form are all coming out of contingency, and that totals a little over $300,000. And then those ones, the line items down below, the five adjustments at the bottom part are transfers within other operating budget line items, not impacting contingency. So overall, it comes out to about $350,000. Two large departments, or actually three, the fire department, the police department, and operations all had significant ups and downs within their departments, or I should say within their divisions. Some departments were up, meaning they were over budget within a specific department, but other departments within their division were under budget. So there were overall some ups and downs, but at the bottom line, they were under budget. So we left those as is because again, we hold the division chiefs accountable at their total department or total division level. So we didn't make what would have been dozens and dozens of adjustments to true them up. So it's really just the departments that overall had to be get contingency money to make them whole. So in the end, it comes out to $346,000 from contingency.
Any questions by the board on any of the proposed transfers?
Yeah, I'll just mention the police department. I've been in discussion with Chief Walsh. As you know, that there's been an increase of violence in schools and different areas of the country. And parents have expressed the concern about their children being in school all day. So we have a special roving patrol, if you will, several officers hired each day to drive to go to each of the schools to make sure that there's nobody trespassing, to keep an eye on things and try to give some relief to the parents so that so that they can feel comfortable when their children are in school.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Any additional questions or comments on the transfers? Seeing that there are none, all in favor of approving the transfers as presented in our package, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The transfers are approved. Thank you very much.
So that will do it for fiscal 25, and now we will move on to current fiscal 26.
All right, and I believe the next item in our package for discussion for fiscal 26 is the use of the municipal grant in aid.
Sorry, Ed, that was just the first in a series of transfers. That was the last for fiscal 25. Now we have
I'm
a
sorry,
series.
Tom, I missed
Yeah.
a page in my package.
Yes, we have a series of fiscal 26 transfers to go through.
All right, so if we can move the fiscal 26 transfers for discussion and approval.
So moved, Troy. So moved,
Thank you, Troy. Thank you very much, Troy.
Okay, the first one is within the Corporation Council department. It is for $8,000 for one of their vendors, Westlaw, and we have Kathleen Royal with us this evening to talk through that. Kathleen, maybe you are up and you can take yourself off mute, which you just did. Go ahead.
I'm here, Kathleen Royal, Assistant Corporation Counsel. Westlaw, our contract was up for renewal, so we are renewing for a 3-year term. There are two primary research providers, Westlaw and LexisNexis. We have our contract with Westlaw, and we are looking to get the enhanced service offering, which provides some artificial intelligence support, which will again keep us on par with our plaintiffs' counsels in our litigation, and also will facilitate our producing contracts and reviewing vendor contracts. And again, it's a little bit more expensive, so we needed to shift some funds.
Yeah, and this is an internal transfer within Corporation Council, not a request from contingency.
I am going to suggest to the board that as we go through these transfers, given that some of them are significant, we review each and approve each line separately. So any questions related to the Corporation Council transfer? Seeing there are none, all in favor of approving that transfer, saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions? That transfer is approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, the next one is one that's we've had for the last several years. This is a request from contingency for $500,000 for the police department. This is to cover the overtime for the school resource officers. Kathleen, you are welcome to stay, but you don't have to stay. But you are, yes, you are approved. You will see that adjustment tomorrow in Munis. Do we have, I don't see the name here. Do we have either Chief Walsh or Mickey Dosimo on the line?
I didn't see
I do
them.
not see them on the line.
All right.
And I jumped the gun. This is the one that I was talking about, extra money for police overtime and roving patrols to patrol each of our schools on a regular basis, rotating basis, to ensure that they're secure and that do everything we can to keep our students safe.
So given there's no one from the department at the current time to speak on this, questions, comments from the board, please.
And it's Troy. Oh,
Go ahead, Troy. Then I'll get to you, Ann, I
I-
promise.
I'm a little confused on this. I thought each school had an officer in the school in each one of the locations, but the mayor's saying now that it's a roving group. I'm a little.
Okay, each high school has a permanently assigned officer.
Right.
Other schools have officers that are assigned to one or two schools each. For instance, somebody would be assigned to an elementary school, and they'd also be assigned to the school that elementary school feeds, the middle school. And what we have now is I have officers on patrol every day during school hours going to the different schools, not just two officers, but like I think there's 4 officers every day that are going to the different schools and driving around. They have a schedule to make sure, and it's kind of a random schedule. You don't want to make a normal kind of a schedule on something like this. It's a random schedule so that they could appear at a school grounds at any given time. And there are school resource officers. I'm trying to think of how many we have right now. I think we have 7 school resource officers. And as I said, they have the middle schools, but they also have the feeder schools that go into the middle schools, and the high schools. The 2 high schools have a permanent school resource officer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ann?
Would we be better off trying to fund 1 or 2 other full-time positions, whether it be in the police force or the school? Resource officers, I mean, I think it's great to involve the police. I think that makes a statement, but I just wonder whether or not we should be adding just another resource salaried rather than paying for it in overtime.
Well, let me explain that. And I've got a little bit of experience in that regard. When you hire a police officer to be an extra police officer on the force, you get that police officer for about 37 and a half hours a week. You also have to pay benefits. It affects the OPEB. It affects our health benefits. When you hire officers at overtime, you could assign them where they're needed. And we've had that discussion several times. So that's why we can take 4 police officers and assign them on these extra duty roving patrols so they can go from school to school, and they sit on school grounds. They have a system, but they don't share what that system is. But I think it's a much more efficient use of a police officer than having, because of the contract, if you hire a police officer, they have a right to a certain an assignment, and that gives them about 37 and a half hours a week on duty. Where if we want to take an officer for 4 hours time and a half and put them where we actually need them, that makes a little bit more sense.
You mentioned one thing. I mean, by not hiring an additional person, I guess then we're saving on benefits. And I don't know if that also means overtime probably does go into OPEB, but I don't know.
No,
It does not.
no.
Not OPEB,
So-
not pension.
So net, it may end up being the same rather than a full-time person with
Right.
benefits. Okay,
Right. And a lot of people think that their overtime monies gets factored into their pension. It does not. A lot of people think that the dirt jobs get factored into the pension. They do not.
Mhm.
Now, New York City is a different story. All the overtime gets factored into their pension, and that's why you saw a lot of retirements directly after 9/11. But
Right.
we don't have that situation in Norwalk.
Okay, great. And I applaud the use of police officers. I think that really sends a statement, and I think it's good for the police to be involved.
Mhm.
Additional comments? One from me, and Tom, you and I briefly discussed this. I'd like to see this, since this is at least the second year in a row that we've taken the $500,000 out of contingency. I'd like to see us for the next fiscal year, give police department the ability to actually increase their budget by $500,000 as part of the planning process to ensure that this money is within their budget and we don't have to go through the contingency transfer every single year.
Yeah, I've been having discussions with Mickey already. It's they're going to put it in their request next year, or for fiscal 27, I should say.
Let's just make sure that we
Yeah.
all note it and understand therefore why their request looks like it is up significantly year to
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell him to calculate his year-over-year percentage with and without that 500. If not for that, it would be X.
Right.
And
Okay.
here it is, including it, it's Y.
All right. Any additional comments? Seeing none, all in favor of this transfer signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions. This transfer is approved. All right, Tom, we want to move to building management.
Yes, next one is for another one, a request from contingency. This one is for $5,000 for facilities administration, or what we call the Office of Building Management. This is into full-time salaries for the creation of a new title. We have Tom Livingston with us this evening. Tom, did you want to give a brief overview on this one?
Yeah, thank you, Tom, and thank you, members of the commission. This is intended to change the title for Alan Lowe, who is currently manager of building and facilities for the city, to be a director of buildings in the city. Alan's been with the city, as many of you know, a long time, actually 43 years, 17 with the city and the other remaining time with the RDA. He, as I said, administers all the buildings and responsible for all the construction projects. And the director title is more fitting for his level of responsibility and duties for the city. And it was really a matter of parity to get him that position title.
Okay. Questions from the board?
I would just like to comment that Alan Lowe does an amazing job. And if it is an increase of $5,000 in the title, then he is giving the city a great service.
He really has. Thank you.
I would agree. This is money very well spent, given the exceptional job he does.
And just for the record, we talked about in finance, and we all strongly concur that this is well deserved and well needed, and hope that everybody will support it.
Any additional comments here? That being said,
I will just add that
I'm
I'll
sorry.
just add that Alan would not ask for this himself.
That's right. No, he didn't.
Yeah.
In fact, he was almost embarrassed.
Yes.
Speaks volumes of him and his
Mhm.
character. All in favor of approving this transfer as presented, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions. This transfer is approved
Thank you.
with gratitude to Alan.
All right, that will do it for contingency. Now we are on to recreation and parks, another internal transfer. So this is just some account management between wages and salary, temporary accounts, and moving that into 4 different accounts for a total of $16,000 between those 4 accounts. Let's see, is Ken Hughes on the line? We have Ken?
No, we have Robert.
I see Robert, but I'm pretty sure I sent the link to Ken. Do you,
Is here. Ken is there.
I'm here.
oh, are you it? Okay.
His other name is Tom Ellis.
Yeah, I'm changing that now.
He's here.
There you go. Should be fixed now.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Good evening, everyone, members of the board. Yeah. So as Tom stated, we had 2 part-time positions approved that we held off on hiring for a few months, which gave us a little bit of cushion to balance out some of our other internal accounts, and that's what you have before you. I'm here to answer any questions if you guys need further information or have any questions.
Any questions related to these transfers? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the transfers as presented, signify by saying aye. Aye.
I-
Opposed? Abstentions? These transfers are approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
All right, and then one more. This one is in planning and zoning. This is one of Steve Kleppin's requests. He was not able to join us this evening. But this is another one of the retroactive ones. And what I mean by that is we processed it in order to pay a vendor in a timely manner, which is what you'll see in the actual transfer form. I authorized this for a total of $6,000. It is an intern. Oh, actually, Steve is here.
I saw Steve here. He's here.
Yeah, no, I was stuck on I am promoting him to a panelist. You should be good to go now, Steve. There he is. Take it away, Steve, and sorry for stealing your thunder.
No, I would have been fine if you just went ahead and I could have.
I was almost there.
Good evening, everybody. This should take 2 minutes. We had, for several years, starting in 2019, we operate a separate website called Norwalk Tomorrow, which we kind of use as our planning page to inform folks on what we're doing, kind of broader picture, bigger projects. There were also several other city websites that were being maintained. And working with Sabrina in economic development, we ended up consolidating that down into a new group called Miranda Creative, who took over, I'd say just around July 1st, I think this fiscal year they started. Unfortunately, the transition for the first couple months took a little longer than expected. So we ended up having to pay our prior firm for 2 extra months than we wanted to, and we didn't have that budgeted for, which is the reason for the request. We have just working with Miranda now, so that is cleared up going forward.
Thank you very much, Steve. Any questions from anyone regarding this transfer? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the transfer, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? This transfer is approved. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Steve. And then our final transfer of the evening is actually a series of transfers. There's a little bit of explanation that goes along with this. This is some state money that we got, a municipal grant and aid. And Jared has this story down a little bit better than I do, so I'm going to turn it over to him to walk you through this one.
All right, so these next 2 items kind of go together, as what I should say the next 3 really all go together, and they're all related to the combination of the additional $10 million in state money that we received, as well as a commitment that was made to, as we talked about earlier, to give another $3 million to the Board of Education for this year. And so what this is doing is it's going to transfer money from the transit district and then from a few different accounts within DPW, and that money will go to the Board of Education. So this money will no longer be appropriated in the current budget for these. So then you ask the question, well, then how are we going to fund these accounts? So the accounts that you see here, the transit district and the few DPW accounts will all be funded out of the state grant money. And so the total of these items that you see here between the 610,885 in the transit district, and then from DPW operations, 2,389,115, total $3 million, which is what we are giving to the Board of Education. So that money gets that money gets transferred to Board of Ed from these accounts, and we backfill those accounts using 3 million of the 10 million in state aid money that we got.
And that is because the state aid money has specifications as to where it should go.
Exactly. Yes. Yes, that's a great point.
Additional questions?
Yep, I'd like to comment on this as I did the other one. We met with OPM with Mr. Schmidt and Mr. Livingston, and this is approved by them in concept. I'm still, lack of a better term, I guess I'm kind of annoyed because we had a written agreement with the Board of Education about allocating this money, which came from the state, 3 million, and there's another 3 million, I guess, Jared, if I'm correct, going to the Board of Ed from another source. And once that approval took place, once we agreed, the Board of Education took an action that was not consistent with the agreement we had. And so again, at the risk of saying, well, we want to take this money away and not fund some of the programs we talked about, such as the music program and some of the sports programs. Again, when they cut programs, they seem to cut the ones that have the greatest impact on the families, and the families get upset when that happens. So I strongly recommend approving this. We've made it very clear that we're not very pleased with the fact that they didn't abide by the agreement that we had.
Yep. And just for everybody in there, you know, as you'll recall, earlier in the year, 2 or 3 months ago, we did, as the mayor talked about, we did the other transfers to the Board of Education that total $6 million.
Right.
Additional comments?
Yeah, Jared, I'm sorry, did you at one point in time mention that the total grant might have been 10 million? Or was it?
Yes.
You did. Okay, so we got to 6. Where's the other 4? Just in our budgets?
No, so actually the other 3 was from other sources, and that was really for the 25 fiscal year to backfill a hole that they had in their health insurance and another area. And so
I
I
think, Jared, Ann's asking a slightly different question, not how did we get 6 to the Board of Education, but rather the state grant was $10 million.
right. I'm just I'm answering the first part, which is that we haven't used the other 3. The other 3 did not come. There's actually $7 million remaining of the state grant, which hasn't been determined yet where that's going to go.
But presumably, like this DPW, it has certain clauses as to where it needs to go in terms of whether it's city infrastructure or something like that.
Correct.
Right.
There's going to be a couple of items later on that you'll that you'll approve where we're using another in total, I think it's less than $500,000 that it will also come from that state money. So we just haven't come up with, there's just not a full plan of how to use the full $10 million yet. We're weighing all the different options. In the meantime, there were a couple of fairly emergent needs that came up that we are going to hopefully use that money for with your approval.
Is it possible that some of that money can go to our rainy day and our fund balance?
So, you know, it's something that we may need to have more conversations with OPM about, because we can request exceptions so that they are, you know, they have it laid out that this money is supposed to be used for roads, whether it's salt, plowing, paving, those kinds of things that are directly related to roads. If we want to use it for another purpose, whether it's rainy day fund, whether it's our internal service fund or something else out of that realm, we're going to have to make a formal request of OPM to use it in that way.
Okay, maybe there's a way we can use it for some capital expenditures and not bond them. So
And that's a possibility as well. And so those are all the things that we're considering.
okay,
Jared, do you have a time frame for all of those discussions and considerations? I understand the urgency of the things that we've done here, but I worry about nibbling at this rather than having a strategic plan for its use.
Yeah. I would say within the next 2 to 3 months, given the election that's happening tomorrow, and to be able to have those conversations with the new mayor, and yeah.
Okay, so within 2 to 3 months, we should have a strategic plan. I'm not going to hold you to a specific date.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah,
I would, oh, sorry, go ahead, Troy.
Yeah, thanks, Ann. Yeah, Jared, also, as part of that whole deal with Bob Duff and the $10 million, you were supposed to be heavily involved in, as we start a new budget season. Is that going on at the moment? Because I know we're going into a new budget. Are you sitting in on these early stages so we know there shouldn't be surprises as we had this year?
in the early stages of
The next budget season that's coming up. I thought you were going to be sitting in with them in their early framing of their budget, the NPS.
oh, with the schools.
Yes, I thought that was one of the, I remember there were 10 points or 5 points along with the $10 million that Bob got from the state. Wasn't one of them that you were going to be more involved in on their financial budgeting side or involved with their
I think
CFO?
the point was that that they be cooperative with us when we're asking questions, and that if I want access to information, that they be forthcoming with it. That was really what that was to address, not so much to be involved from the beginning, because well, as we heard a lot about during the charter revision, a lot of the details of their budget are really not finalized until they do the school-based budgeting, and well, throughout the year, but really ends in April sometime. And so it was really more about just that the city have access, as we should, to whatever it is that we want. And if we have requests or we have questions about different accounts or how they're spending money, that they be forthcoming with that, because there has been some issues with that. There were some issues with that last year.
Are you seeing that cooperation right as we speak?
I don't think that we're just starting our process on our side, and so I don't think that they're far enough along to for me to be able to ask questions right now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Having watched or read about the Norwood Public Schools, the funding and the issues, I would like to commend Mayor Rilling for his patience and his leadership in trying to navigate those negotiations.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Additional comments, questions regarding these transfers? Seeing none, all in favor of the transfers as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? These transfers are approved. Thank you, Jared.
Mr. Chairman, if I can.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
I am going to sign off. My wife is waiting patiently. It's our anniversary tonight, and I promised I'd take her to dinner. And she's sitting there giving me the evil eye. No, she's not. She's very patient. But I'm going to sign off, and thank you, everybody, for your time, and appreciate it. You still have a quorum. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We'll see you next month post-election.
Ed, let me just say before the mayor leaves, I just want to thank him for his 12 years of service to the Norwalk. And it's been a pleasure working with him during this period of time.
Absolutely, Troy. But we have 2 more months of his pleasure and presence as we go through the end of the calendar year.
Yeah,
it's not going to be
His
for 2
wife
more
can't
months.
wait for January, but the rest
January
of us have a
2nd.
couple more months.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you,
Good
Mr.
night,
Mayor.
all.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
All right, Tom, I believe the next item on our agenda is the contingency tracker.
Yeah, Jared, did we need to do the appropriation? Or no? The state summary?
believe we covered that in the last comments
Yeah,
where it's
or we covered with that as part of the package? You're on mute, Jared. Jared, you're on mute.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if you're in agreement, then we can consider the authorization of the appropriation of $3 million from the municipal grant and aid for FY 26 to those accounts that were just transferred. And if that's as long as everybody understands that that was approved, then I'm okay with that.
I believe we all understand that that is how the prior transfers are being funded. So unless anyone is concerned with how we've addressed that, I believe we can move on.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. And yes, onto the contingency tracker. So this will be the last time we see the fiscal 25 one. We started with a balance of just over 2 million, and we just processed just under 350,000. So our final ending balance will be about 1.7 million on that one after all of the retro wage adjustments. And then on the fiscal 26, our prior balance was 1,240,000. We just processed 505,000 worth of requests, primarily from the police SRO overtime. So that will bring our balance down to 700,000, which is a pretty significant hit with quite a few months to go. So hopefully it'll be a quiet year for contingency requests the rest of the way. Any questions on contingency? All right, that'll do it.
Right. Seeing no questions there. We are not going to speak on it, but in our package is the Norwalk Public Schools updates. I believe the next topic for discussion, Tom, begins on page, I'm scrolling madly here, on page 42 of our package, and that is in regard to the recreation and sports activity account.
That's correct.
Could someone please advise me, do we need to move this item for discussion, given that there is a request for approval at the end of it?
Yes.
All right, so I would ask someone to please move this item for discussion. Thank you, Kendrick. All right, so Tom, Robert, we'll turn it over. Tom, Robert, Jared, we'll turn it over to you.
I just want to make a little introductory remark about this. As you know, this has been talked about, I think more than everybody has wanted to, and so we have a program document in front of you. And just to be clear about what the resolution will do is to establish this program, the activities account, which combines the recreation and sports, also aquatics program, into this account. It's also it's important because it lays out what the money can be spent on and where the funds are going to come from. And so this is to have the BET weigh in on this and to cast a vote to allow us to spend this money. Anytime we spend money, we need an authorization from the BET to do it. And typically this money just has been spent in the past, and there hasn't been a lot of monitoring of it or approvals. And so this would give that approval, and then allow the BET to see this, have visibility into the operation and to the status of it every year going forward. And so I think Robert has a brief statement to make about some of the highlights of the plan.
Good evening, fellow commissioners. I just want to outline some key points. This fund would allow a little bit more flexibility, but certainly it would also allow more accountability. The new recreation, there are several points I want to make, and one is that the new recreation sports activity account would transparency and more predictability. It would also combine sports and aquatics programming, the previous 4,000 play and learn account, to create a single non-lapsing account. Expenditures and revenues would be limited exclusively to the items that are mentioned in the document that will set up the account. The also would be a lapsing account, as Jared has said, and it would allow the general fund to absorb the cost of converting a part-time position to a much needed full-time position, recreation program systems analyst. Between 3 and 5% of the budget would go back to the general fund each year, and Rec and Parks would present BET during the budget hearings each year. BET would have opportunity to recommend changes, such as contributions to the general fund. I'd like to dwell on it a little bit on the first point, the new recreation sports activity account. Unlike the current play and learning account, this account will have more accountability. The funds will be budgeted each year. Currently, the funds are not budgeted. There will be an oversight by BET of the council. Revenues and expenses will be reported annually. Transparency will come through budgeting the programs, because if programs are budgeted, there's more transparency. Currently, the fund is not budgeted or monitored. We do self-monitoring, so there's been no. The fund has been kept, I think, relatively according to accounting principles, but it hasn't had jurisdiction of our council or the BET. Also, having our recreation program revenue deposited in the account allows for a much easier reservation, scheduling, accounting for our program coordinators, because all of the programs and events are scheduled on our program and facilities, software and accounting system. So it'd be good to keep it all together for efficiency and accountability. Expenditures and revenues are limited exclusively to the items as we mentioned. We will be restricted uses outside of the program revenue deposits listed in the program guide and the expense categories. General fund expenditures identified in the document, as we said, will be reassigned to the recreation and sports activity account. This position that this fund would also create full-time. We have kept it part-time with nearly full-time hours with salary savings. Over the last years, there are no more salary savings to be had with the department growing its programs and sports. And now the recreation center is coming on board. Salary savings will be slim to none. The position will maintain and oversee facilities program, class scheduling, and accounting for our citywide programs in our recreation center, and have the daily maintenance of this particular fund. And as we said, 3 to 5% of the budget will go back to the general fund each year, approximately 40 to 60 and more would go to the general fund. I believe that these are minimum funds. We will give back. I believe there'll be much more funding giving back to the general fund because of the continual growth in our programs and our rental space. Our recreation center is going to come on board where we will have 3 to 4 rooms that will be rented for birthday parties, for wedding receptions, funeral receptions, all those things. So that will add more money to our fund. Also, the new baseball tournament that was approved at Broad River Tournament fees will be able to collect in that. We currently are negotiating with grassroots tennis for a tennis bubble to go over 4 of our courts. And if that is successful, that will be a more revenue. We will actually be running a tennis program under the bubble for the late fall and winter seasons. So I believe we may get closer in terms of giving back to the general fund much more than this amount that this minimal amount will give. Also, as we stated, we will be reporting to the BET on an annual basis twice, because we would also be budgeting these funds. So in our budget presentation, it would be presented, and then also in terms of our accounting of the funds. So you know, I really think this is a step up for Parks and Recreation and our budget process. And I think this will make it easier for us to track our programs, to also project our revenues. It'll make it easier for our accounting, the back house of our scheduling and reservation and facilities rental software that we brought on a couple of years ago. And I just think it makes the whole system a lot more efficient than the previous 4,000 account that really had no oversight, but it was never budgeted. So I think this cleans up. It cleans up a lot, and I'm requesting and hoping that you go ahead and approve this account to be set up.
Thank you, Robert. Questions for Robert before we read the resolution into the minutes to vote? Ms. Yang.
Robert, I know we had a very long conversation about this. Could we get Mr. Schmidt to please comment on how much of this is within the finance department's design and what his thoughts are on all of this?
Can you clarify your question?
So I know we had conversations about this quite extensively offline, and I gave my opinions. Can you how much did you play a role in constructing this, and what are your thoughts around it, and how much of this are we taking monies away from the general fund of the city to be used as the city might want to allocate in other places, given the revenue sources here are facilities that the city funds?
I support this program. I'll say that I've been heavily involved in the creation of the program, in the creation of the document. We've been back and forth with Robert several times over the last several months since the budget was adopted, and I think we've gotten it to a point where you know, for me, the main thing was to give visibility, and for Robert to consider what the uses of the fund might be going forward, so that we don't have to come back every year and say, oh, you know, I forgot about this, or I want to add this program in there, I want to add this sport, or you know, and so that this can hopefully be stable for a number of years going forward. And also those comments also relate to the revenue side as well, because the idea is to make it so that the general fund, there's not back and forth between the general fund and this account. You know, once we get this settled, it should be in a good place. And we're not gonna have to come to you next year and say, hey, we have this other, this other piece of the general fund that we want to move over here into the sports and recreation activities account. So that we can move money off the general fund budget and just to play games like that. I'm trying to avoid that as much as possible. And so that's the reason that this was created. And again, I support it. I think it's a good use given the way the spending happens and the way that the services are provided typically on a fee-based arrangement. I think it makes sense to run a program like this in this way and not to have it go through the general fund. And so I think it's a good idea and will hopefully be stable for years to come.
And the percentage of 3 to 5% that might come back from the general fund as almost kind of like an overage or a royalty payment or something like that, is that within the construct of how the funds are put forth, or is that just a projected contribution back to the general fund?
It's a combination because we know that there are probably some other uses that other members of the BET have brought up in the past about whether it's use of fields or use of other facilities. And so I think it would be a lot of work to try to nail that down to the dollar to say, okay, you're using this field and it's going to cost this much. And then we have this session of this and it's going to cost this much. To do that would be administratively a nightmare. But we do recognize that there are some uses that, and I think it makes sense for there to be some other contribution back to the city in recognition that there are uses of city assets, fields, and time that's taking place. And as we go along, I think, one of the reasons for looking at this every year is so that if we see that there's a disparity there, or we see that the fund balances, just continues to grow and there's no, and it's just kind of sitting there, then maybe more of it goes back to the general fund. Or maybe we find that there's more use of the facilities than we had projected. And so I think there will in the future be opportunities to make adjustments to it year after year.
I am all for Mr. Stowers having the management flexibility to adjust to the market. I guess we would budget this and we can measure the success of that by also making sure that he runs a surplus that does come back to the general fund as we look at every year.
Yep, agreed.
Definitely.
Any additional comments? Before we vote, then, Madam Clerk, can I get you to read the formal resolution into the record? The formal resolution can be found on page 2 at the bottom of section C, item number 5.
Resolution to authorize the establishment of the Recreation and Sports Activities account. The account shall include revenue sources and program expenditures as defined in the Recreation and Sports Activities Program document dated October 30, 2025. Account funds shall not lapse and shall be available exclusively for the purposes identified in the program document. The Director of Recreation and Parks shall report to the Board of Estimate and Taxation and the Common Council on the status of the account prior to April 1st of each year.
With the resolution read into the record, all in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The resolution is approved. Thank you very much, Robert.
Thank you guys.
Jared,
Thank the committee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stowers, and thank you, Mr. Schmidt and Ellis, for marshaling this through.
Thank you for hanging with me. Thank you.
The rest of our package, I believe, is informational for this evening. There is no Oak Hills report tonight. There is no tax assessor's report tonight. That I believe comes at our next meeting when the next report is ready. With that, prior to adjournment, any final questions or comments from anybody from the board? Seeing none, I remind us all, if you haven't already, to please exercise your right to vote tomorrow. And ladies and gentlemen, may I get a motion to adjourn? Thank you, Kendrick. Thank you, Ann. We are adjourned. Have a nice evening, everyone.
Have a great night,
Good
everyone.
night. Thank you.
Thank you.